Well, post-Uri, there was this clamor that was growing to hit back at Pakistan with full might. And this is exactly what India has done, sending out a very strong message to Pakistan of its zero-tolerance policy towards terror. In a military response to Pakistan's repeated provocations, India conducted surgical strikes in Pakistan, destroying terror launch pads across the line of control. Army's special commando forces crossed the line of control in this very huge, well thought out, daring operation. Special commandos, in fact, what we hear, penetrated 3 kilometers into Pakistan territory, targeting 6 terror camps. Now, the Defence Minister, Manohar Parrikar, along with the Army Chief General Dalbir Singh Suhag, Ajit Doval, who is the National Security Advisor, and the DGMO, Lieutenant General Ranbir Singh, and other senior officials were all monitoring this particular operation.
Now, based on very specific and credible information which we received yesterday, that some terrorist teams had positioned themselves at launch pads along the line of control with an aim to carry out infiltration and terrorist strikes in Jammu and Kashmir and various other metros in our country. The Indian Army conducted surgical strikes last night at these launch pads. The operations were basically focused to ensure that these terrorists do not succeed in their design of infiltration and carrying out destruction and endangering the lives of citizens of our country. During these counter-terrorist operations, significant casualties have been caused to the terrorists and those who are trying to support them. We do not have any plans for further continuation of the operations. However, the Indian armed forces are fully prepared for any contingency that may arise. I have just spoken to the Pakistani Director General of Military Operations and explained our concerns, and also shared with him the operations we had conducted last night. It is India's intention to maintain peace and tranquility in the region, but we can certainly not allow the terrorists to operate across the line of control with impunity and attack the citizens of our country. During these terrorist attacks and infiltration attempts, we have recovered items including global positioning systems and stores which have had Pakistani markings. Further, captured terrorists hailing from Pakistan or Pakistan-occupied Kashmir have confessed to their training and arming in Pakistan. हम किसी भी सूरत में आतंकवादियों को लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल के पार बेझिझक हरकत नहीं करने दे सकते, और ये हम बिल्कुल गवारा नहीं करेंगे कि आतंकवादी हमारे देश के नागरिकों पर किसी भी प्रकार का नुकसान पहुंचा सकें। पाकिस्तान ने जनवरी 2004 में जो आश्वासन दिया था कि वे अपनी जमीन से भारत के खिलाफ आतंकवादी हमले नहीं होने देंगे, और इसी वचन के अनुसार मैं पाकिस्तान सेना से उम्मीद करता हूं कि वो हमारा समर्थन करें और हम मिलकर इस आतंकवाद को जड़ से मिटा सकें और अपने इलाके के अंदर शांति बहाल कर सकें।
I will go straight now to Lieutenant General retired Shankar Prasad. Sir, we just heard the DGMO a short while back speaking. Now, and retaliation is expected. We just heard the Defence Minister of Pakistan saying, and I quote him here, "Hum muh tod jawab denge." Can you just tell us what will happen next? What do you expect to happen next in all of your years of experience? You said escalation can be controlled. Who has the power to control that, sir?
You see, escalation is not something that can be controlled by anybody in such a manner. It's a very loosely used terminology. We can control escalation. It's not an accelerator or a car that you can control the speed of the car the way you drive it. Pakistan's statement to say we will give a muh-tod jawab is something that they can only dream about at the moment. if they begin to open artillery fire, which is the best they can do, like they've been doing ceasefire violation across the line of control over the last 24 hours as reported by the press, that is yet another thing they can do. They will activate more posts, and they're quite happy. We are quite happy to have them post opened, and we can retaliate to that. That's at a very low level. If Pakistan thinks that it can react in a major offensive across us at a date and time of choosing of their side, they are sadly mistaken. They must understand that the Indian Army has taken this action after due calibration, due discussion, due wargaming over the last 10 days. Uri happened nearly 8 to 10 days ago. And the government of India has considered this aspect of using military response in great detail. It has been discussed threadbare at the army level, at the CCS level, at every conceivable level of the government of India. Therefore, it will be naive for us to think that the government of India has not catered for response from Pakistan and assessed what response Pakistan can give. Now, this assessment is in the terms of their artillery response, in terms of their heightened or more aggressive terrorist incidents, maybe some terrorist incidents generated into hinterland, maybe creating some kind of strikes on our VAs and VPs. Now, all of those must have been discussed by the authorities in the Indian Army, in the Indian Armed Forces, in the CCS, and precautionary measures must be put into place by now.
So let me just get
Therefore, any reaction now will be getting a bigger reaction from us.
Let me just get in our executive editor, Gaurav Sawant. Gaurav, Pakistan has completely denied it. Forget about, underplaying the whole thing. They have said that they reject Indians' surgical strikes, calling it a lie. They're saying that nothing of this has happened. Can you just explain it to us now? What can we expect? This is the same Pakistan who just a few days back threatened to nuke India.
Oh, absolutely. So when Pakistan says nothing of this sort happens, Pakistan has much more coming its way. Why? Because India has proof of an operation that was carried out. So for the benefit of our viewers, I just want to take you across to what we have been told by our sources happened at the line of control. Now, this line of control in Jammu and Kashmir is 770 kilometers long, 776 to be precise. Now, when we take a look at this line of control, it starts from near Akhnur, goes all the way up to NJ 9842, which is where the Siachen Glacier starts. So, let's now come to actual places where engagement took place. Now, Bimber, Lipa Valley, Hot Springs and Kale. This is somewhere here. This is where the Pir Panjal ranges are, and this is where it shifts to Kashmir from Jammu. This is where terrorists come in from. So what did India do? Our special forces went into Pakistan, and this is where what shows how brilliant our special forces are. They went in, they destroyed terrorist launch pads. Now the bigger impact is in the minds of the Pakistanis. That is not just Myanmar in the east where terrorist camps can be hit, even here. So targeted strike back is what India has done in a very, very specific area where terrorists were waiting to cross into India. Indian Army went in, destroyed them, killed terrorists, destroyed infrastructure and came back. So that was a big message that India has sent across. What does it also show? That Indian intelligence agencies have access to outstanding intelligence inputs. You had intelligence inputs about the number of terrorists who were there waiting to strike, and India went and hit back and hit hard. That's point one. It's a small body of troops that carried out the operation, and that is another very important message that goes out, that special forces, small teams, well armed, well trained and dedicated. After the Uri terror attack, they were waiting to strike, and they did. Specific areas in Pakistan targeted. So it's a big message that India has sent out to Pakistan, and the message is that we can strike at a place and time of our choosing. You may have nuclear weapons, but there is a conflict that can take place below the nuclear umbrella. Terrorism will not be accepted by India. That's the strong message that's going out at this stage.
Absolutely. And Gaurav, this is what the Prime Minister had said post-Uri, that those behind the attack will not be spared. This attack will not go unavenged. We have seen what has happened. Very interestingly, Gaurav, I've just got this news about how we're getting a reaction from Pakistan. General Raheel Sharif saying, allow me to clarify, I'm quoting him here, there were no surgical strikes on terror camps in Azad Kashmir because all terror camps are located in Bahawalpur, Punjab. This is what the Pakistan Army chief has to say.
I mean, what can be more hilarious than that? So Pakistan, as a state sponsor of terror, is conceding that terrorist training camps are in Bahawalpur in Punjab. Well, that is true. That is where you have the headquarters of Jaish-e-Mohammed. That is where Masood Azhar is there. But you also have terrorist training camps in Manshera and in Muzaffarabad. India made it very clear they struck at a terrorist launch pad. And what they've also done, India has very cleverly made the Pakistan Army Chief, General Raheel Sharif, now he's about to retire. He's desperately looking for an escalation. He wants to stay on as Pakistan Army Chief. Will he continue to stay on after this? Which means, will there be escalation? A lot of this will be war game now, and we'll see action on ground now. But where Pakistan is caught is the fact that Pakistan is facing a situation at the LC, Pakistan is facing a situation at the Durand Line, Afghanistan. If one country hates Pakistan's military jihad terror complex more than India, it is Afghanistan. And Afghanistan is also waiting to strike at Pakistan-based terror factories. So there is a lot that will happen in the weeks and months to come.
Let me just also get in retired Major General P.K. Sehgal. Sir, post-Pathankot, obviously relations between both the countries were extremely tense and they have been strained. But what do you think has changed, post the attack in Uri? We can very well see that India is quite done with dossier diplomacy. This seems to be a very well thought out and, calibrated strategy, a multi-pronged strategy to isolate Pakistan, not just economically and diplomatically, but also give it back to Pakistan militarily, something that nobody had expected.
Absolutely, this was an outstandingly brilliant maneuver on the part of the Indian Armed Forces. We've displayed to the Pakistanis, we've displayed to the world the competence and the professionalism of the Indian Army. We've let it be known to them that we mean business. Every time you do anything like this, the punishment will be swift and very punitive. Retribution will almost be instant hereafter. Having said that, it is in our interest to underplay. Let the Pakistanis have a face-saving measure. The Pakistani defense minister is wanting to say that nothing of the sort happened. The Pakistan Army Chief is saying so. It is in our interest to let them say what they wish to for the benefit of their own people. We have achieved what we wanted to achieve. The world knows what we have achieved. The Indian nation knows what we have achieved. The Pakistani army cannot fool itself. The terrorists cannot fool themselves. So having achieved the minimum what we wanted to achieve and having sent across a very, very strong message, it will be in our interest to downplay and let the Pakistanis suffer the consequences of what they've done.
Absolutely not. May I most respectfully, General Sehgal, may I most respectfully disagree with you. We have struck the we have carried out surgical strikes in the past. Kindly hear me out, sir. This is a war where you're hitting at the mind of the enemy. Mind of the enemy needs to be struck.
We're just getting a quick reaction from the Pakistan Army. We'll just cut straight to that, Gaurav. We'll just come to you in a bit.
कि एलओसी के क्रॉस फायरिंग करेंगे और उसको कुछ और दावा करेंगे। मुझे तो भी यही लग रहा है कि इन्होंने फायरिंग की और अभी ये जब इतना रिस्पांस आया है उसके बाद अभी ये कुछ फैब्रिकेट करके उसको कुछ और बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
अच्छा आसिम साहब, जिस तरीके से ये खुल्लम खुला खिलाफ वर्जी की गई है लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल की, उसके बाद खुल्लम खुला दावा भी किया गया है कि हमने ये लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल की खिलाफ वर्जी की है, तो ये जंगी जराइम में नहीं आता?
ये देखें, ये तो बहुत कुछ में आता है और ये बहुत ही अनफॉर्चुनेट है कि ये हमेशा से इस तरह की इश्तियाल अंगेजी करते हैं और इस वक्त पूरी दुनिया को यही चाहिए कि वो उनको इस चीज का एहसास दिलाएं। ये एस्केलेशन सारी उनकी तरफ से हो रही है। मैं ये पहले भी कह चुका हूं कि हम हर चीज पे नजर रखे हुए हैं, हम तैयार हैं और कुछ भी करेंगे उसका भरपूर जवाब हम देंगे।
अच्छा आसिम साहब, इस वक्त पाक रूस मुश्तरका मशकों का सिलसिला भी जारी है, क्या ये उसको मुतासिर करने की कोशिश हो सकती है?
जी ये देखें, अगर ये उसको मुतासिर करने के लिए ये कुछ किया जा रहा है तो ये तो बिल्कुल ही मैं कहूँगा कि ये उनकी नासमझी है, बिकॉज इस तरह की चीज़ों को अफेक्ट नहीं किया जा सकता। ये वैसे ही मेरा ख्याल एक इश्तियाल अंगेजी का अमल है और चूंकि ये खुद ही इतनी हाइप क्रिएट कर देते हैं, उसके बाद फिर इस तरह के हथकंडों से ये उसको जस्टिफाई करने की कोशिश करते हैं। फॉर नाउ इन्होंने एलओसी की वायलेशन की, फायर किया और बेइंतहा फायर किया। जब एक रिस्पांस आया है तो इसको किसी और शक्ल में लेकर जाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
आसिम साहब, कश्मीर में जो सूरत हाल है, मकबूजा कश्मीर में इंसानी हकूक की खिलाफ वर्जियां की जा रही हैं। 69 कश्मीरियों को जो आज़ादी की बात करते हैं उनको शहीद किया जा रहा है। अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा में दो टोक मौक़िफ़ अपनाया गया था और काफ़ी जो है प्रेशर भी था, तो वो तवज्जो हटाने के लिए भी ये हो सकता है?
जी, ये बिल्कुल ऐसे भी हो सकता है, चूंकि ये बहुत जुल्म और बर्बरियत कर रहे हैं और पूरी दुनिया चूंकि उस पर बोल रही है और हमारा यूनाइटेड नेशंस में भी मौक़िफ़ बड़ा इस पर क्लियर रहा है। और पाकिस्तान ने बड़ी दफा ये कहा है कि हम मॉरल और डिप्लोमेटिक सपोर्ट देंगे, तो ये बिल्कुल हो सकता है कि तवज्जो हटाने के लिए कर रहे हो। लेकिन फिर मैं आपके थ्रू एक मैसेज यही दूंगा कि ये इस तरह के हथकंडों से कुछ हासिल नहीं होगा और इस तरह से अटेंशन भी डाइवर्ट नहीं हो सकती। अगर ये जुल्म और बर्बरियत करेंगे तो ये बिल्कुल उनके सामने है, लेकिन अगर पाकिस्तान के लिए, पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ किसी किस्म की भी वायलेशन करेंगे, एलओसी को छोड़ेंगे, तो इनको फिर भरपूर जवाब फेस करना पड़ेगा।
तो आसिम साहब, जिस तरह के ऑपरेशन ज़र्बे अज़्ब कामयाबी से इस वक्त जारी है, आप क्या समझते हैं, क्या इनको डाइजेस्ट नहीं हो रहा?
जी, ये देखें, ज़र्बे अज़्ब अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बहुत एक कामयाब ऑपरेशन है और इसमें कोई शक नहीं है कि वो हो सकता है कि इनको डाइजेस्ट ना हो रहा हो। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमारे गेन्स और हमारी सक्सेसेस उसमें बहुत क्लियर हैं। पाकिस्तान ऑलरेडी ज़र्बे अज़्ब में बहुत कामयाबी से आगे बढ़ रहा है। दहशतगर्दों को आपके सामने जिस तरह से सेटबैक्स हो रहे हैं, तो ये कुछ भी हो सकता है। मेरा ख्याल है, मैं इस तरह के तज्जिए में अभी नहीं पड़ता। फिलहाल मैं आपको यही कहूँगा कि हम तैयार हैं और इनको बिल्कुल इस तरह की चीज़ से दूर रहना चाहिए। इससे इनको कुछ हासिल नहीं होगा और ये जब भी पाकिस्तान के साथ कुछ भी करने की कोशिश करेंगे, इनको भरपूर जवाब जरूर मिलेगा।
ठीक है, डीजी ISPR आसिम सलीम बाजवा साहब हमारे साथ मौजूद है। बहुत शुक्रिया आपके वक्त का। और उनका ये कहना है कि
So clearly there, Pakistan extremely rattled by what's happening on ground. General Asim Bajwa, who's Director General of Inter-Services Public Relations of Pakistan, saying there was no surgical strike. But look at Pakistan's voice. Look at Khwaja Asif, who was threatening India, Pakistan's defense minister, who was threatening India with a nuclear strike just 48 hours back. He could barely speak because they know the truth. They know that Indian Army has carried out a surgical strike not in one, but in 6 areas. Pakistan is conceding that a surgical strike. Pakistan is conceding that there have been operations in 5 areas. They claim it's small arms fire. They claim that only 2 Pakistani soldiers were killed and 9 Pakistani soldiers were injured. The truth, and soon there will be visual evidence of the truth that will come out in public domain. That will show the extent of to which India can go to prevent loss of Indian lives. What is the message that India is sending? That terror will be hit at source. I'll get you much more. Avantika and I will get you much more on that story on the other side of a short break. Stay with us.